if you get a television spot in prime time, it is $2,000 for a 30-second spot. $2,000 for one 30-second spot. Like, it has never been this cheap to run advertising for your business. And I guarantee you more people are staring at their phone while they're watching TV. So you actually, for $5 a day, can get in front of more people who are paying $2,000 for one 30-second spot on television. Patience is everything. Like, even if you ran one ad for $5 a day for an entire year, you'd be better off than 80% of your competition.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Joel Irway here, and welcome to a very special episode of Sold with Webinars. And today, we have a special guest here today, my good friend Laurel Portie, who is an absolute beast, an absolute rock star when it comes to paid media, advertising, and just being an A player entirely. Now, I can say that with firsthand experience because Laurel, Laurel has been running. If you followed my podcast for any length of time, you know that I am not really a low ticket guy, right? I preach high ticket. I say low ticket is really, really difficult. It's very, very hard. And until you've got the budget, until you've got the resources, the time, the bandwidth, and the energy to put towards low ticket, don't do it. Start with high ticket, right? I've made it my life's purpose over the past 4 years to try and really crack low ticket. I actually bought, because I own the domain highticketcourses.com, I actually bought the complimentary domain lowticketcourses.com because I knew eventually I'm going to freaking figure it out. And I think we figured it out. So I'm very excited to have Laurel on here because she cracked the code for low ticket with one of my offers, the powerofferworkshop.com. I'm very excited to have her on the podcast, on the show here today, because we're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about what she did to make this all work, why I couldn't freaking crack this code, and maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Laurel, it's great to have you. Welcome to the show.
Oh man, thank you for having me. I have been an avid listener for years, and so this is an absolute treat to be here. And I've learned so much from you too, so thank you so much for having me.
I'm super stoked. So for all of our listeners right now, if you're listening, obviously we're talking about ads today. We're talking about how to really make ads crush no matter what you're promoting, whether it's low ticket, whether it's high ticket, you name it. Laurel and her Lean on Laurel program, she has figured it out. Laurel, I think the best way for us to kind of open this conversation is explain to people, like, number one, what is your methodology? And then number two, what was I doing wrong with all my ads? Because I ran ads. I spent, I don't know, 50 grand, 100 grand on ads for my Power Offer workshop for years. You know, I could never spend more than a couple $100 a day without it just completely breaking. Maybe we'll use that as a case study to try and figure out what I did wrong, how you cracked the code, and now, like, we're scaling to the moon with that workshop, which is just amazing. So break it down. What is your theory and what is your methodology when it comes to running paid media?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I bring a different type of ball game to the entire industry because of my television background. So for 19 years, I actually worked in television. I was one of those marketing producers where, when the credits roll of your favorite show, CSI was huge whenever I worked for CBS. When the credits rolled on CSI, I was the person that had to do a very important thing, which was get people to watch the 10 or 11 o'clock news, depending on which market I was in, right? And so as soon as those credits rolled, it was my job to not only get people to not grab the remote, but I had to keep their attention through a 3-minute commercial break in order to watch the most boring show on television, which is the 11 p.m. news, right? People are falling asleep. Their hubby or their wife is like, come on, let's do some sex. And, it's just so many things that, people are fighting, and getting people to watch the 11 p.m. news right after their favorite show ends was one of the hardest things I had to do. But it helped me understand the basic thing that I think makes me unique in the way that I approach the ad space is, one, grabbing people's attention, and two, leaning on some type of promise of value to keep it. Because a lot of times when I see people launching ads, they're all about conversions, which, don't get me wrong, conversions are huge. But Joel, what you have built with your audience as far as this podcast goes and you being in the direct reach of so many industry experts who also, pimp you out and talk great about you, like social proof, right? Those are the two biggest things that I don't think enough people lean on, because they're so focused on, I got to get this ad out, top of funnel, top of funnel, top of funnel. What made it so easy for me to come in and do something with what you were already doing was that you had already laid out the foundations. I'm nothing special. Like, if I look at the way that I approached things working in television, it's all about not only getting people's attention, but keeping eyeballs, right? I am a firm believer in pipeline equity. And what I mean by that is just building a lot of goodwill with your audience. And whenever I first came out into this internet marketing world 5 years ago, I just remember so many industry experts poo-pooing my idea of this goodwill content. And I'm not the first to come up with it. Like, one of the very first books I ever read was Gary Vaynerchuk's, jab, 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 right hook. And people are always like, well, where'd you come up with the power content idea? Why are there 3 of them? And I literally based it off of Gary's 3, jab, 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 right? Value, 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 and then right hook. And so I am just a firm believer in keeping the goodwill content higher than the sales content. And so I knew as soon as I was going to get my hands on your ads manager that the audience was already going to be there. I just literally had to get you to do a couple of value videos, have no call to action, right? I know that sounds really, really weird, but it helped to build up that pipeline equity. And the second thing that you already had in place that you weren't taking advantage of was social proof. There was so many people that were in your audience already that had gotten amazing results with your power offer. And I know this because, one, I use it personally with my students, and we've had over 6,000 people come into my program. And the very first assignment that I have everyone work on is your power offer. And so I knew there was a lot of success stories. And so I knew that if I did 2 things, one, help you build content that was going to continuously increase your goodwill with your audience, in addition to this podcast, which increases goodwill automatically. 2, take advantage of all of the social proof that people are talking. It's like people always say your brand is what other people say about you, right? Your marketing is what you say about you, but your brand is what other people say about you. And just by firsthand utilizing your power offer into my own business and seeing all of the success stories, I knew that there was going to be something there. And so that was one of the very first ads that we ran, was a testimonial of one of your clients, and the powerful, powerful way that power offer changed that person's life. And it just led to a snowball of other people telling their own story. And so lesson here is, it's not that I'm this magic genie or that I'm the one that helped you crack the code. Everything that you needed was already right in front of you. I think you just needed someone from the outside that just understood that whole the pipeline equity concept and how powerful social proof is, because so many experts don't take social proof into account.
So to give people some hard data on what our numbers actually look like, since Laurel took over my ads, so we're recording this end of March. She took over the ads, I think end of February, maybe beginning of March. So the Power Offer Workshop, as it currently sits, is a $27 offer, right? And she's acquiring, over the month of March, we acquired customers for $32.16, right? So for the first 2 weeks, we were acquiring them for less than the cost of just that front end offer. Now, obviously, I've got an order form bump and I've got an upsell, so we make money now, which is crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen people be profitable on low ticket front ends at any sort of scale, which we are, and we're still scaling. We're spending about $1,000 a day in ads right now, and we're running that profitably, which is great. But the key thing is, over the course of March, $32.16 to acquire a $27 customer, not including any order form bumps and upsells. So that was blowing my mind. The first 2 weeks, it was lower than $27 a CPA. And I'm just oh my God. There are times that I ran these ads, I was paying $8 a click, $7 a click. And I'm there's no way I can be profitable on this. I'd need a 25 or 35% conversion rate on the sales page to work. And, I think it's important for people to understand your true methodology, right? So jab, 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 right hook, jab, jab, right hook, whatever it is. Like you have a very unique approach because um, I want people to understand, like, so when I first got exposed to your stuff, you showed me your ads manager. Your Lean on Laurel program or your ads coaching, excuse me, because those are two different things. Your ads coaching is $7 a month, right?
Mhm.
You're the only one in the industry offering coaching for $7 a month. You got 6,000 students in there. Like it's pretty incredible. You showed me your own ads manager and you were profitable. You were profitable on the front end selling a $7 a month training. Like you're acquiring customers for like $3, $4, $1. Like it was wild. I was like, I didn't believe it. I'm like, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Like that's, there's no way you can be profitable selling a $7 a month training for like less than acquiring customers with less than $7. But it was true. And so break it down for us. Like you've got, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. We don't do 3 stages. I think we only do 2, like top and middle. Is that what you focus on? Is it top and middle, or, break it down for us a little bit?
Yep, absolutely. Like even if, I'm looking at your ads manager right now, what do you notice is the lowest cost per acquisition? It's your retargeting sequence, right? And so a lot of people, like what I was saying a while ago, don't take into account that there are so many people who are looking at your offers. And, the main mistake that most people make is they show the same ad to the same person over and over again. And so what we have is a kind of a mix because we want to keep that goodwill equity going, but at the same time, we want to sell. And so if we combine the two, right, into high valuable content, and we're running the retargeting for just $2 a day, it's not like we're running, and that's why retargeting is not scalable, but it's super important that we have enough traffic flowing from the top. And so what I personally do, like if you look into my ads manager, there are 2 top of funnel campaigns that are running. Number 1 is my power content strategy. Now, what constitutes a lead in my business, because I know a lot of people are going to be rolling their eyes at this. I do not have any type of list building campaign running. Like I never have. Like my 2 top of funnel strategies are my high value content, which is my power content, and then my offer ads, right? Just like what we're running for you, Joel. I run my top of funnel offer ads. I've got 2 ads that have been running, contrary to what a lot of people say is that you need all of these ad creatives. While that is true, like when you're testing things out, like I always tell people 9 out of the 10 ads that I'm going to test are going to fail and you're going to have that one. But once you have that one ad that does really well and you harness the power of social proof, that ad could run for a very, very long time. Like it'll have a very, very long shelf life. And so over the course of the last 4 years, there are these 2 ads that have got massive social proof. I showed them to you the other day. One of them's got like 1,400 comments on it. The other one's got over 2,000 comments. And it's all talking about how they bought my program and they're getting results, right? That it's not a fluke, it's not a scam, but also top of funnel. Not only are the people who want to buy my program my target, but I also want to bring in the people who are going to be my ideal audience, right? Like if we think about the way that Joel tells us about the power offer, there's only going to be a certain percentage of people who are buying that. My $7 offer converts at 7 to 8%, right? So what about the 92% of people, 92, 93% of people who are hitting my sales page, but not actually taking me up on this offer to get coaching for $7? They get retargeted back to my pieces of power content that are also running to cold traffic that are specifically, and I use the same methodology that I write my offers with, is I use the demand triggers exercise in your power offer workshop to create my pieces of power content. So I've got 3 pieces of power content running top of funnel that are 3 to 5 minutes long. And they're aimed at people who are my ideal client and polarizing everyone who isn't. That's super important. I use the same methodologies to write my power content as I do for my power offer, but I just keep in mind that the people who are watching my power content, they don't know me, they don't trust me, but they are my ideal clients. And so if they watch 25% or more, I welcome them into my retargeting ecosystem is what I call it. So they could either become part of my ecosystem by either watching 25% of one of my 3 pieces of power content that I run as a video view campaign, or they come into my retargeting ecosystem by visiting my $7 offer. Now, one of the things that I don't do that a lot of people recommend that you do is I don't exclude in any of my campaigns, because I love. Yep.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to kind of summarize, because there's a lot of terminology that gets thrown around. So I want to make sure that people really understand what your methodology is. So when we're talking top of funnel, Laurel has something called power content, which is meant to identify it's no calls to action, correct?
Correct.
So it's on Facebook. So you're creating a value video that attracts your ideal client, right? So it's using copy and you're teaching something that attracts only your ideal client. And so you have 2 to 3 of those pieces of content that you run. Do you run them as video views campaigns?
Yep, I run them as video view campaigns.
Okay, cool. So your top of funnel is now building your audience with video view campaigns, no call to action, and providing value in advance. So now, once you throw a handful of those up, you'll see which ones are best performing, but you're building your audience based on Facebook's ecosystem. So anyone who watches, 25, 30%, whatever it is, your identifier, now they become your remarketing audience, right? So that's what power content is. Power content is your audience building on Facebook and on Instagram. Did I get that correct?
You got that correct. You nailed it.
Okay. So then my question for you is, do you run power offers, which is your direct response, like direct offer style ads? Do you run them cold top of funnel as well?
I do. And I actually use your power offer framework to sell my $7 program as well.
Okay, cool. So you've got those 2 going to top of funnel, going to completely cold audiences. Now, why do you do that? Like, why do you run both of them top of funnel to cold? Like, why not just only run your video view campaign to cold and then your power offers to, middle and bottom of funnel?
Yep, that's an excellent question. And the reason that I do that is for faster traffic, right? Okay. So I kind of use it as the same methodology as your power offer, because if people are actively looking for an ads program to join, my $7 program amongst all of the several thousands of dollars of ad programs stands out. And so I need traffic in order for my most powerful sequence, which is my $2 retargeting sequence, to actually fire. And so instead of just running video view campaigns, it's going to take a really long time for those audience buckets to fill up, right? And so I run my video, my 3 pieces of video content at $5 a day, let that bucket fill up, and then I run my offer campaigns. That's getting the most clicks, right? Because remember, we want to have a nice balance. We always want to be, quote, generating leads and building an audience 24/7. And so I just do it in 2 different ways. I harness the power of, okay, these people have seen my offer. Maybe they're not ready to buy, but that's okay. I'm willing to spend whatever in order to get people to see my $7 offer. But I also want to bring in people who are going to look at me as someone who's giving a lot of value, not just sell all the time, right? How many ads do you see in your newsfeed that are just sell, and there's no value? And so I find that there's a lot of value in actually not selling people in your advertising. Like I always tell people that my advertising strategy is to go 75% value and 25% salesy. That's the balance that I like to keep within my own strategy. Now, this is different for everybody, depending on the offer. But for me, I want people guessing. Like, if someone sees an ad in their newsfeed from me, they don't know. They don't just scroll past it, because they don't know whether it's going to be a high value piece of content or if it's going to be an ad that's going to sell my $7 program. And that's the secret. Like, most people are just scrolling by your ads. Not you, Joel, but just anyone who's listening. Most people are scrolling by because they've already seen the ad, or they just expect it to be you selling something. With me, my audience has no idea when they see me in their newsfeed whether I'm going to pitch my $7 program or whether it's going to be a really high piece of valuable content.
So I want to highlight a couple things here, because it's not the first time that I've and if you're a seasoned marketer, if you've been around the block for any number of years, this might not be the first time that you've heard of like a multi-angled approach of cold and warm and hot traffic and developing campaigns specifically for them. It wasn't the first time that I'd heard it either, but I think what Laurel identified with my campaigns, and it's really, really important, and she obviously does it with hers. I mean, let me ask you something. Before I go into this analysis, which I think is very, very critical, and I think it will help everybody's campaigns, whether you run low ticket, high ticket, no matter what. Laurel, did we write any new copy for my ads? When you took over my account, like I didn't even, it had been over a year since I ran ads for that offer. You didn't write any new copy, right? It was, you used a different image, right? You used a testimonial image to run to cold traffic and warm, which is converting very, very well, but you didn't write any new copy, right?
I did not write any new copy. All I did was go onto I went into your ad account and I marked all of the copy that I liked. And I was going through the images and I was like, you know what? I think that there's a better representation of what this ad copy portrays if I can find a really great testimonial screenshot of something. And so I went through all of your ads, I went through all of your pages, but I didn't find it until I actually went, I believe it was the checkout page of your power offer. I was like, because it wasn't on the sales page. Yeah, the checkout page. And I saw two really powerful testimonials. And I was like, whoa, this is really great, because it's the ad that said, if I had to do it all over again, here's what I would do. And then there was that screenshot of this guy saying that all he did for the first time was post the power offer and got his first client or something. And I was like, this is like the perfect imagery that actually will go really well with the copy that you wrote. But yeah, so far to this day, I have just been utilizing content, Joel, that you've already had in your ecosystem, like organically. And I'm just putting it in front of the people who are, who are already engaged with your content.
It's a huge shift for me, right? With what you did, it was a huge shift for me because I'm a copy guy. I'm a messaging guy. And so for 3 freaking years or 2 years, however long I ran this, like the workshop is like hands down the single greatest asset that I've got for my business that's gotten more people results, turned more people into millionaires. Like it is just phenomenal, right? So like there's a couple things that I did wrong that I want, if you're listening right now, I want you to do right. Like take these mistakes and do it right in your business. What I kept doing, and you can't do that. Like this is the biggest thing that I've learned on Facebook. The absolute biggest thing. I'm an engineering nerd, so I like to analyze. I want to look at every single click. I want to look at like I've got on-page optimization, like I've got mouse flow, conversion rate optimization software. So I'm tracking what they're scrolling, all this other stuff. And what was so difficult for me was that like it's wildly inconsistent. And it's your traffic source, right? The types of people that Facebook sends to your landing page varies widely because it's not intent-based traffic, right? They are scrolling, like it's interruption-based advertising. So like on-page optimization is damn near impossible. It's damn near impossible because you're not getting consistently the same type of traffic hitting that page every single time. Like some days that have 2% conversion rate, other days that have 6% conversion rate. I would try and compare what I'm doing differently, and it was just, I couldn't optimize. So a couple things that we did that really turned this campaign around. Number one, the image that you use, Laurel, on that ad is on my sales page. And the sales page is the ugliest sales page you'll ever see. It's just a video with me just talking in front of the camera, a 5-minute video, and I have 2 testimonials and a headline. That's it. That's it. It's super, super simple. That first testimonial is the image that you use on the ad. And that ad converts at like 15%. Anybody who clicks on that ad and lands on the landing page, like 15% of them buy the offer. Like it's super congruent. And people talk about that all the time. Like make sure you have congruency from your ad to your landing page. And I've just kind of ignored it. I'm like, whatever. Like, no, I don't, like I want to optimize for my sales page, et cetera, et cetera. But like it's the most congruent ad that we can possibly have because there's nothing else on the page except for that testimonial. So using that as the image, like the amount of people who convert from that, it's just, I've never seen it. Like our life, like over this month, my sales page conversion rate is 7.8%, right, to cold traffic. I've never had that before. That's bonkers. Like bonkers. There are some days it's like 15%, 12%. Like obviously it fluctuates. Yesterday was 13%. We had 269 people hit the sales page, 35 people bought, 13% conversion rate. Like it's just bonkers. And so because I'm rambling, but there's a lot of good points that I want to highlight here. I'm using this as a case study of what Laurel discovered. Number one, congruency with the ad to the sales page is critical. The copy didn't change. The ad copy was the same stuff I was running when the ad didn't convert, right? But she added a social proof testimonial in that screenshot, and that was on the sales page, and it was super, super congruent, and that worked really, really well. The second thing that Laurel just kind of like briefly touched on, which made a huge difference for us, was social proof. Now, like live social proof. Getting as many people to comment. Like when we relaunched this ad, a lot of my past customers and clients saw the ad and they just started commenting without me saying anything. They just started commenting on the ad saying, this was the greatest purchase of my life. I made so much money doing this. I did this. Like it started littering the comment feed with proof and like more testimonials than I ever had. And that's what started the snowball effect. And like more and more people started to comment. And so now we've engineered it. We've built it into our program. But now it's like, hey, listen, if you enjoyed this, go back onto this ad and tell people what you think, right? What's your single biggest takeaway from this program? What kind of results did you get? And this is what you did, Laurel, with your ad. That's why you can have this one ad running for years, is you have thousands of comments on your best ad of all your students, all your case study. Like it's, you can't fake it, you know, like that's the number one thing. Like if you put on a sales page 100 testimonials, 10 to 15% of the people will think they're fake. Like that's just what it is. Like we are so jaded now as buyers, as salespeople, that like we just think that testimonials are fake. And I still get people on my ad that comment and they read all these posts from users like, oh, great fake posts. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, you know, but like people are jaded. And I think if you have that live proof, that live testimonial, you convert a lot of people, a lot of skeptics into buyers. I took that for granted. I mean, I never utilized it. And it's like those two things really just set that offer on fire.
Yep. And also I like to say that my targeting technique is a little different than what a lot of people do. Because one of the things that I find that people do is they kind of stay into that tighter targeting phase, right? Where they're like, well, you know, I want to select people who like Russell Brunson and Amy Porterfield and all of this, where I like to kind of use like kind of almost like I call it my Trinity stack, because it's made up of 3 different layers of broad targeting, interest-based targeting, and behavior-based targeting. And it doesn't matter what niche, like I walk all of my students through like just these 3 different layers. So for instance, right, like I had a fitness coach this morning wanting to target other fitness coaches. And so we actually had a very broad targeting example would be, you know, personal fitness and weightlifting, right? Those are 2 very broad topics. Then the second layer is, okay, what are the behaviors that this person does as a business owner? So you go into the, you know, small business owner behaviors. So you go into like all the different behaviors. And then the third layer is, you know, what are some of the other things like nutrition and all of these things. So it's like we're going broad, then we're going behavior, and then we're going into the tighter interests like the keto diet and stuff like that. Like that would be a really great combination, because we're not just stacking them all in one interest box. Facebook has this little button that says narrow down, and a lot of people ignore that narrow down button. But instead of telling, you know, Facebook, it has to match this person or this person or this person, it's telling they have to be involved in one of these broad interest markets. They must also have one of these behaviors, and they must also have one of these interests. And I think that that's where a lot of people go wrong with their targeting. And we're really like honing in on who your ideal client is.
You know, I've heard so many different theories, and like we even see a wide variety of results with targeting, meaning like a lot of times we'll just go broad with no targeting at all and just let our copy our copy filter out, and that works incredibly well. You use super layered targeting, that's working incredibly well. Like it's when you run ads, like it is all a game of testing. Like, if you know all the different layers, like I'm sure that can be very, very helpful. Obviously, it's working very well for us.
It depends on the niche. It depends on the niche too. Like you have to know like how big your market is, right?
Yeah.
Like I have one student who, trains horses, and she just has this one interest, the horse training association or something. And that's what she uses for all of her targeting. I think it's just, just knowing exactly where your audience is hanging out. Most people stress about targeting when targeting is usually like not nearly the most important thing.
So what else is happening in the world of ads that's really, really important right now that people have to understand?
They have to have patience, honestly, because of, I believe that, I am coming up on my 5th year anniversary as a business owner. On April 18th, will be my 5 year. Longevity, I think, has a lot to do with it. Like, I did a training yesterday for some of my students, talking about, because a lot of them were coming to me and they're like, well, I've been putting this offer out there for the last 2 or 3 months. And I'm like, 2 or 3 months, that's nothing, right? I'm just now starting to see, the compound effect in my business. And I've been, almost 5 years now with the same offer. Like if you go back to my very first video, April 18th of 2018, you want to take a stab at what I'm teaching? My $5 power content ad. I think longevity really has a lot to do because of the saturation in the space. There's a lot of saturation in the space, but there's not a lot of competition in the space. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that are putting out a lot of offers, but it's getting easier to pinpoint the people who are actually doing what they say they're going to do, just based on how long they've been doing it. There's one day there's someone who's a spiritual coach, and then the next day they're teaching ads. There's too much of that going on in the industry, right? And so like if anyone's listening now and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much competition, if you just take what we talked about in this podcast episode and put out goodwill content and you're consistent with your offer, to me, it's fail proof, right? Like think about like my days of working in television. I couldn't pick my targeting. The closest thing that I had to targeting when I did commercials for clients or commercials for TV stations was picking a show. That was my targeting, right? Like a car dealership couldn't just come to me and be like, well, Laurel, we only had 2 conversions this month from your commercial. Like there was not that kind of data that we have now. And so like we're living in a time where it has never been, and I know people say Facebook ads are expensive, but I'll tell you, like if you get a television spot in prime time, it is $2,000 for a 30-second spot. $2,000 for one 30-second spot. Like it has never been this cheap to run advertising for your business. And I guarantee you more people are staring at their phone while they're watching TV. So you actually, for $5 a day, can get in front of more people who are paying $2,000 for one 30-second spot on television. So patience is everything. Like the longer that you can, like even if you ran one ad for $5 a day for an entire year, you'd be better off than 80% of your competition.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, just awareness, right? It's the awareness game.
It really
the attention
is.
game. It's a combination that like what I really loved about your strategy, which is what I don't teach, is power content plus power offer. Right? Power content is value. That's awareness. That's brand building. That's, the longer game in combination with your punchy conversion ad, to book a call or to buy my program, whatever it is. And so, anyway, I just wanted to give you all the credit because it was like you cracked the code with my ads. I know you say you didn't really, you didn't do anything, but it's like, man, we spent well over $100,000 with agencies and ads trying to crack the code and trying to get it to scale. And everyone promises that you can scale. And, I think the secret is having a combination of value building posts or value building ads combined with congruency on your ad, combined with obviously great copy, and then layering in social proof and testimonials, like live social proof and testimonials. And you can't get social proof and testimonials if your product sucks. So all of this is predicated on the fact that you know your stuff and you can teach something great, something world-class. It's so much easier to sell a product when you have other people selling it for you. How do you get that to happen? Social proof and testimonials, and getting them to comment on your ads so other people see it and push them over the edge. It's pretty incredible. So, all right,
It's
Laurel,
a great combination. It's a great combination. Like, you know, the awareness is kind of like your proof that you know what you're doing. That's the way that I look at it, right? Like your power offer is saying, hey, I've got this offer. It's, you know, it'll get this results, but your power content is actually kind of like you yourself as an expert giving a bird's eye view of what that actually looks like, is the way that I look at it.
100%. 100%. So where can people check you out, Laurel? Where can they buy your $7 coaching, $7 a month coaching? You know, let's drop some links.
Yep, absolutely. Adcoaching47.com.
Ad coaching percent, pretty self-explanatory.
Yep, adcoaching7.com.
Awesome. Be sure to go check her out. She knows her stuff. She's an amazing human, an amazing person, and she's the one who if you see you will see my ads, because we're spending a lot more money now. She's the one who's running them. She's responsible for cracking the code. And so, yes, you can be profitable with low ticket. Yes, it is still going to be a lot of work. Yes, you need to create a world-class, great product, but this is proof it is possible. And if you apply this to your high ticket stuff, it's going to be even better, right? So this applies for everything. But you know, just the case study I wanted to share was that we finally cracked the code to high ticket, and I didn't think it was possible, but we did it. So, Laurel, thanks for jumping on, and for everyone else, we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.